Shalom Yasha Allah is Brother Mapathak. That'd be key, but in the ancient Paleo Hebrew. And this is gonna be just a video going into the fact that you're gonna be hated for this truth, right? People are gonna despise you for this truth. Your friends, right? Your so-called friends that you had in the world, right? Your family members, right? Those that was closest unto you in this world. And when you come into this truth and you leave off the desires of this world, right? The lust of the flesh, right? And you become a new creature in the spirit, right? In the spirit of the Lord. Hey, a lot of people are going to despise you, right? A lot of people are going to hate you, right? And before we go into the words of the Lord, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. That's all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High God, whose name is Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, who the world will ignorantly call Jesus Christ, but we know him as Yahushai, right? So you're going to be hated in this thing. Don't expect to come into this thing and think everybody is going to be able to see things the way you see it, right? Because everybody doesn't have the spirit. Only the elect are going to get this truth, right? And we're going to dive right into it, the book of John, chapter 15 and verse 18. Let's see what Yahushua said, right? So this is St. John, chapter 15 and verse 18. And this is Yahushua speaking, right? It says, if the world hates you, you know that it hated me before it hated you, right? So when people hate you on this thing, you got to rejoice in that, right? You have to understand that's the same thing that Yahushua went through, right? The world hated Yahushua. You understand? Yahushua was despised by men. We're talking about the king of Yasha Allah, right? The creator of the heavens and the earth. When he walked this earth, he was hated, man. How much more you being a servant of Yahushua, right? And reading on, it says, if you were of the world would love his own. So we were of the world, if we were still fulfilling the desires of our flesh, right? We were still being niggas in this world. You understand? The world will love his own, right? If brothers was on the highways and byways passing out bottles of liquor, right, and big fat blunts, hey, the world will love you. But we're slanging and passing out the words of the Lord, right? We're passing out rebuke and reproof to our people, and they despise that. They hate that. You see what I'm saying? And it says, but because you are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you, right? But us being in this truth through the Spirit, hey, the Lord chose us out of the world. Therefore the world hates us because we're not of the world, right? We rebuke this world. We reprove this world. And it says in John 3, through the Spirit of the Lord, we're going to bring it out. Hey, those that's in darkness, they hate to come into the light because they don't want to accept that reproof, roughly paraphrasing, right? But we're going to bring it out. But let me read on in this. Verse 20, it says, remember the word that I said unto you. The servant is not greater than his Lord. And we're not greater than Yahushai, right? And we're all servants of the Lord. So if they hated Yahushai, how much more us, right? They hated the apostles, right? Peter was constantly thrown into prison. Paul was locked into prison. You understand? Right? Jeremiah was thrown into a dungeon. You understand? Isaiah was sawed in half. I can go on and on, man. Right? We're basically what they call a public enemy. You understand? And this is just the beginning. We haven't really seen anything yet. You understand? And it says, remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. And if they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also, right? And if they persecuted Yahushai, they're going to persecute us as well. And if they kept the sayings of Yahushai, they're going to keep our sayings as well. You understand? Let's get that in Isaiah 53. Let's bring this out in Isaiah 53 from the top, right? So this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 53 and verse 1, and it reads, who have believed our report, and to whom is the arm of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai revealed? For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant. And this is speaking about Yahushai, right? Being that tender plant. And it says, and as a root out of the dry ground, he have no form nor comeliness, right? Because Yahushai didn't come in his glorified state. Yahushai came as a regular man that was looked down upon, right? Like one of us, you understand? And it says, they looked at Yahushai like a nigga in the world, right? And, well, for the most part, I should say it. For the Jews, the nations, right? But you had the elect that knew who he was. They knew he was the son of the Most High God. And that's how it's going to be in these last days as well, right? When the elect sees a prophet of the Lord, they're going to be like, that's a man of the Lord, right? But hey, the rest of the world, they see you as nothing. Right? And it says, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. He is despised and rejected of men. Right? So Yahushua was despised. He was rejected of men. Right? It says, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised and we esteemed him not. And the point is, hey, Yahushua was rejected in this world. Right? Yahushua was despised in this world. You understand? He was seen as nothing, man. Right? You read about in Luke 4, Lord willing, we could bring that out as well. Hey, when Yahushua was teaching, those in the synagogue, they despised his teaching and they wanted to cast him off a mountain headlong. They literally wanted to take Yahushua and cast him down a cliff headlong. You see what I'm saying? Right? That's how much they hated the Lord. So if you're coming in this world speaking the words of the Lord, how much more you? You don't think they're going to want to kill you? You see what I'm saying? Let's go to Luke 4. Let's actually bring that out through the Spirit. Let's bring that out. This Luke chapter 4 and verse 28. And it says, and all they in the synagogue, when they heard these things, right? So they in the synagogue, when they heard the teachings of Yahushua, it says, were filled with wrath. They were filled with wrath. They were angry, right? They were literally angry when they heard the teachings of the Lord. And it says, and rose up and thrust him out of the city. So they cast him out of the city. It says, and led him unto the brow of the hill. So they led him into a cliff. That's what that's going into. They grabbed Yahushua up, cast him out of the city, and took him to a cliff. And it says, whereon their city was built, that they might cast him down headlong. So they wanted to throw our Lord and Savior, the King of Yasha'Allah, the creators of the heavens and the earth. They wanted to take him and throw him headlong down the cliff, man. That's how much they hated Yahushua, man. Right? Imagine that, man. Right? You have the creator. I'm going to keep emphasizing this point. Yahushua, you can read that in Colossians 1 and verse 15 on down. You can read about that in Ephesians 3 and 9. You can read about that in Psalms 33 and verse 6. Yahushua created the heavens and the earth. You see what I'm saying? And they wanted to cast this man down headlong off a cliff. And shalom to all almighty brothers and sisters on the live, man. Right? And it says, but he passing through the midst of them went his way. But Yahushua kind of got up out of there, man. Right? And what you think they hated Yahushua for? Because he exposed the wickedness of this world. When you're in your wicked ways, you don't want to come across a prophet. You don't want to come across a man that's going to tell you all the wickedness that you're doing, man. Right? You don't want to be reproved. The foolish men, foolish women, they hate reproof, man. They don't want to be told what they're doing wrong. You see what I'm saying? And let's bring this out. And let me see if I can find this precept real fast. I believe it's in Proverbs 9. This is what I want. This Proverbs 9 and verse 8, and it reads, reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee. That's plain, right? Scorners hate reproof, right? Foolish men, foolish women, they hate reproof. They hate you when you reprove them. You see what I'm saying? It says, reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee. Rebuse a wise man, and he will love thee. But the wise, they love reproof. The wise love hearing the scriptures. They love getting cut up by the scriptures, right? They love to walk past a brother or a sister that's going to correct them, man. You see what I'm saying? Right? Even when you were in the world, you were being a damn nigga, right? You were being a foolish man. You walking around with a blunt in your hand, sagging your pants, right? And you always had that uncle. You always had that whoever it may be, right? The elder on the block, right? He might tell you, hey man, hey youngin, pull up your pants, man, right? And when you gonna stop smoking that damn weed? Right? At the time, you probably didn't want to hear it, but you might go back in the house and you meditate on that like, hey, he kind of right, man. Right? That elder looking out for me. You take that as love. But the foolish man, they kind of gonna get mad at that man. Who is you to tell me to pull up my pants? Right? Who is you to tell me this? Right? The foolish man, he hates to be reproved, man. But the wise man, he loves the reproof, man. Right? He loves that brother that's going to reprove him. That's the spirit. That's what I'm about to bring out next. The brother brought out, he puts John 7:7 down there. That's the spirit. I was going to bring that out. That's what I'm about to go to, right? So that's the spirit. So this John chapter 7 and verse 7, and it reads, the world cannot hate you. And this is red letter. It's Yahushua speaking. It says, the world cannot hate you, but me it hateth, because I testify of it, that the works thereof are evil. You see that? And that's what people hate, man. And that's why Yahushua was hated, because he testified that the works thereof are evil, right? He testified that the world was full of evil works, man, right? And that's why they hated Yahushua, right? Hey, like I was just going into, the foolish, they hate reproof, right? The wicked, they hate reproof, man. Right? Let's get that in John 3. Let's bring that on to John 3. Right? That's why, hey, it's some brothers when you're in the highways and byways, and Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Barakatah to the mighty brother Akia Kadash, Shalom King, and Shalom to the mighty elder Kawas Malak, Shalom Kings. Right? And I'm gonna bring out the precept that the elder brought out. This is John chapter 8 and verse 37. It says, I know that ye are Abraham's seed, but ye seek to kill me, because my word have no place in you. Right? You see that? And they didn't have the spirit. That's ultimately what it came from. Right? The word of the Most High didn't dwell within these men. Right? And that's why they hated it. And it says, I speak that which I have seen with my father. Right? And do that which ye have seen with your father. Right? Salaki, I'm going to read that again. It says, and ye do that which ye have seen with your father. Right? So they follow after the wicked ways of their wicked forefathers. Right? Because these wicked men, right, the wicked Jews, right, it all goes back to their forefathers, which always slayed the prophets. You understand? We're going to go into that as well. And it says, they answered and said unto him, Abraham is our father. Yahushua said unto them, if you were Abraham's children, you would do the works of Abraham. But now ye seek to kill me, a man that have told you the truth. You see that? And they sought to kill Yahushua. And all Yahushua did was tell the truth. Right? Like they say in the world, hey, the truth hurts. You see what I'm saying? And it says, the truth which I heard of the Most High, this did not Abraham. So he said, hey, y'all not Abraham's seed because y'all not doing the works of y'all fathers, right? Abraham wouldn't have killed me, right? And it says, ye do the deeds of your father. Then they said to him, we be not born of fornication. We have one father, even the Most High. You see that? So they wanted to kill Yahushua. They didn't really have a spirit, right? And the brother brought out another mighty precept as well, Brother Akia, Amos 5 and 10. They hate him that rebuketh in the gate, and they abhor him that speaketh uprightly. That's plain, man. They hate that man that's rebuking in the gate, right? That's telling them of their wrongdoings, right? And like I was just about to go into, you'll go on the highways and byways, and a lot of brothers and sisters, they're scared to walk past the servants of the Lord, right? You might call them, hey, come hear the word, brother. He might say, hey, I don't want to talk right now. I'm still living in sin. You see, because a lot of our people, they understand that, hey, these brothers are going to reprove me. These brothers are going to rebuke me, so I would rather not speak to them because they're scared to come to that light, because they're scared for their darkness to come to light, right? Let me bring this out in John 3, right? Mighty precepts by the brothers, right? So this John chapter 3 and verse 19, and it says, and this is red letter as well. It says, it's Yahushua speaking. It says, and this is the condemnation, that light is coming to the world, and that light that coming to the world is the word of the Most High, right? And Yahushua being that word. Right? And you got the servants of the Lord that's moving in the spirit of Yahushua, man. Right? So that's that light that's coming to the world. It says that light is coming to the world, and men love darkness rather than light. And our people, they love darkness more than they love light. They love the works of evil more than they love the works of truth, man. Right? Upright works, right? It says, because their deeds were evil, right? And this is a key point, verse 20. It says, for everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, and everyone that doeth evil, that walks contrary to the words of the Most High, they hate the light, man. Right? They hate the servants of the Lord. They hate the words of the Most High God. They hated Yahushua, man. Right? And why did they hate that light? It says, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. Because they're scared of that reproof, man. Right? They don't even come to the light because they're scared of that reproof. Right? You see what I'm saying? Nobody really wants to be told. Well, no wicked, foolish person wants to be told where they're going off at, right? And that's why they're going to hate you in this thing. That's why when you come into this thing, you'll notice a lot of family members hate you. You might have a lot of family members that's in the Christian church, right? And now you come into this thing and you're actually in the truth, right? And you're letting go of all your fleshly desires, right? You're actually doing what the word says. A lot of people are going to hate you, right? Because on a deeper level, they're going to be envious of you. You see what I'm saying? Let's go to Job. I'm going to bring this out in Job, right? Just touching on the point that a lot of people are scared to come upon brothers that's going to reprove them, right? So this is Job chapter 29 and verse 7, and it reads, when I went out to the gate through the city, when I prepared my seat in the street, the young men saw me and hid themselves. Right? So when Job, right, which was a servant of the Lord, when he came amongst the gate of the city, the young men saw Job and they hid themselves. They said, oh, here come Job. And they kind of hid because they understood Job was coming in the spirit of the Lord. Job was going to rebuke them, right? Job was going to reprove them, right? So when they saw Job coming through the gate of the city, they hid themselves. You see what I'm saying? And that's how a lot of people are today. A lot of people will see the brothers on the corners with the Bibles in their hand, bringing out the word, right? Letting Jacob know their transgressions, and they're going to walk on the other side of the street. Right? They're going to take the long way to their destination. They don't want to walk past the servants of the Lord because they don't want that reproof, man. They don't want to hear what the Lord has to say about them. You see what I'm saying? And that's how it's always been since the beginning of times. Right? And let's go to 1 Kings. So, hey, we got to rejoice in being hated for this truth. We got to rejoice in going through the same things that our Lord and Savior Yahushua went through. That's a beautiful thing. You see what I'm saying? Let's go to 1 Kings 22. Right? It's a beautiful account as well. Right? So this 1 Kings 22 and verse 7, and it reads, and Jehoshaphat said, is there not here a prophet of the Lord besides that we might inquire of him? Right? And it says, and the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, there is yet one man, Micaiah the son of Imlah, by whom we inquire of Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. But I hate him. You see that? He said, but I hate him. So he hated this prophet, right? Let's see why he hated him. It says, for he doeth not prophesy good concerning me. You see that? And that's what our people want to hear, man. Right? They want to hear smooth things, pursuing the Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 9. Right? He said, hey, I hate him because he doesn't speak good concerning me. You see that? Our people just want to hear smooth things. They don't want to hear the truth. Right? And it says, but evil. And Jehoshaphat said, let not the king say so. Right? I want to jump down to verse 14. Right? In verse 14 it says, and Micaiah said, as the Lord speak, Salakia, as the Lord liveth, what the Lord saith unto me, that will I speak. But Micaiah said, hey, I'm not here to speak good things unto you. I'm not here to speak things that's going to be soothing to the ear. I'm not here to preach prosperity gospel. I'm here to preach the truth, man. Right? And that's why he was hated. Right? All the prophets of the Lord that actually speak the truth of the Bible, they're going to be hated. All the servants of the Lord that's actually going into the scriptures and bringing out the truth of the scriptures, they're going to be hated. Right? You're not going to come into this truth like a Christian pastor, where the whole world just loves you, man. Right? You read about that in Luke 6, and we're going to get that as well through the Spirit. Right? If men speak well of you, hey, they spoke well of the false prophets as well. That's what Yahushua said. Right? But when they shall revile and persecute you, hey, they did the same thing to the real prophets, man. Right? They did the same things to Yahushua. So you have to rejoice in being reviled in this thing. You have to rejoice in being hated for this truth, man. Right? Because you're fulfilling the same lots as our forefathers did, man, as the true prophets of the Lord. Right? And let's get the classic. Let's go to Galatians 4. Let's see what Paul said. Right? So this is the book of Galatians, chapter 4 and verse 16, and it reads, am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth? That's plain. So Paul had to tell those in Galatia, hey, am I become y'all enemies because I'm teaching y'all, I'm telling y'all the truth, man? Right? And you're going to become enemies to this world, man. Right? You're going to become enemies to those that used to love you. There's going to be a lot of people that used to love you, man. They used to always want to be in your company. They used to always want you to come around. But when you come into this truth, hey, they're going to hate you, man. Right? Because now you're speaking the truth. Right? Now every time they're eating pork, you're telling them, hey, brother, hey, sister, you shouldn't be eating that. Right? Now every time they're being wicked, you're reproving them. You're rebuking them. They're not going to want to be around you, man. See what I'm saying? Right? But they used to love you. When you used to partake in the wickedness and the folly with them, they used to always want you around. But now, hey, they going to hate you, man. See what I'm saying? They're going to hate you. The same people that you used to think was your best friend in the world, hey, in these last days, they're going to be the same people that probably tell Esau where you at, man. Tell Esau your dwelling place, right? In the time of Jacob's trouble, right? In the time of persecution, when the saints are being persecuted, right? And shalom to the sister Adiah, and shalom to all the mighty brothers and sisters on the live, man. Right? So I'm gonna bring this on Jeremiah 38 because I actually brought it out earlier, but I want to read it. Right? How Jeremiah was cast into a dungeon, man. Right? All of our forefathers, for the most part, they were persecuted for this truth. Right? For prophesying the downfall of nations. right? Prophesying about our people going into captivity. A lot of people didn't want to hear that when Jeremiah was letting them know, hey, Nebuchadnezzar gonna come and take us, man, right? The Babylonians are gonna come and seize Jerusalem, right? Hey, they hated Jeremiah for that. The people of Jeremiah in his hometown Ananoth, they wanted to kill him, man. You see what I'm saying? So I want to bring this out in Jeremiah 8:38 and verse 6. It says, I'm gonna start from verse 2, right? It says, thus saith Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, he that remaineth in this city shall die by the sword. Right? So this is the Most High speaking through Jeremiah. And he's prophesying against Jerusalem. Right? It says, he that remaineth in this city shall die by the sword, by the famine, and by the pestilence. But he that goeth forth to the Chaldeans shall live, for he shall have his life for a prey and shall live. Right? It says, thus saith the Lord, this city shall surely be given into the hand of the king of Babylon's army, which shall take it. Right? It says, therefore the princes said unto the king, we beseech thee, let this man be put to death. That's what they said, right? That's what they said about Jeremiah. Jeremiah was prophesying the truth, the true words of the Lord. And they said, man, let this man be put to death, right? It says, let this man be put to death, for thus he weakeneth the hands of the men of war that remain in this city, and the hands of all the people, in speaking such words unto them. For this man seeketh not the welfare of this people, but the hurt, man. Right? But that's what the Lord said. You see what I'm saying? It says, then Zedekiah the king said, behold, he is in your hand, for the king is not he that can do anything against you. And this is the point that I wanted to get. Right? Verse 6. Then took they Jeremiah and cast him into the dungeon of Melchiah the son of Hamelech. So Jeremiah was taken and cast into a miry dungeon. You see what I'm saying? A miry dungeon, right? Because he prophesied in the name of the Lord. And it says, that was in the court of the prison, and they let down Jeremiah with cords. And in the dungeon there was no water but mire, and Jeremiah sunk into mire. So that's going into like muddy water, right? Jeremiah sunk into the mud. You see that? So they let Jeremiah down into a dungeon that was full of mire, which is going into like mud. You see what I'm saying? This is how much the prophets of the Lord were hated, right? And let's get this in 2nd Ezra chapter 1. Right? 2nd Ezra chapter 1 and verse 32. Right? So this is the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 1 and verse 32, and it reads, I sent unto you my servants the prophets, whom you have taken and slain. Right? That's plain. The forefathers were constantly slain. Right? The forefathers, our forefathers, right? The prophets of old, they were slain. They were taken. They were persecuted. They were locked in prison houses. You see what I'm saying? It says, I sent unto you my servants the prophets, whom you have taken and slain, and torn their bodies in pieces. And they were torn in pieces. It says, whose blood I will require of your hands, saith the Lord. Right? So the prophets of old, they were taken. Right? They were persecuted, cast into dungeons, cast into prison houses, right? Sawed in half, right? Torn in pieces, slain. That's throughout the Bible, right? So don't think it's something, a strange trial or a strange thing that's going on when you're being hated, man, because that happened throughout the scriptures to the prophets of old, right? And we're fulfilling the same lots that our forefathers filled. You see what I'm saying? Right? Because on a deeper level, we are our forefathers, right? So, I want to go to another one in Luke, because I paraphrased this earlier as well, but I want to bring this out, because this is the words of Yahushua. Right? So this is Luke chapter 6 and verse 22. Right? And I'm going to bring this out real fast that the elder brought out, right, in 2 Corinthians 6 and verse 14. Right? Because it's a great precept. It says, be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. Right? For what fellowship have righteousness with unrighteousness? You see that? And that touches on the point that I was going to earlier. How that, the unrighteous are going to hate you now that you're in this truth, man. Right? And the Lord tells us not to be unequally yoked with unbelievers, man. Right? Because, we don't have any fellowship with them, man. Right? What do we have in common? Right? And I believe that's in Sirach. I don't remember the exact scripture, but it goes into what fellowship have the wolf with the lamb. You see what I'm saying? And it says, and what communion have light with darkness? Right? Beautiful precept. Right? And us being in this light, we don't have any communion with those that still walking in darkness, man. Right? And I'm going to bring this out in Luke chapter 6 and verse 22. And it reads, Blessed are ye when men shall hate you. Right? And this is super heavy. And you have to understand this. Right? The Lord, Yahushua, he said, you're blessed when men shall hate you. Right? So it says, blessed are ye when men shall hate you, and when they shall separate you from their company, and shall reproach you. So you're blessed when men speak badly about you, man. You're blessed when they don't want to hang around you anymore, right? You're blessed when they reproach you, man, right? Those that you used to be cool with, now they don't want to be around you. Now they say you're wicked. Now they're saying you're going off and you're racist and you're this and you're that. Hey, you're blessed when these men are saying this about you. That's what Yahweh Shai said, right? It says, and cast out your name as evil. And that's what they're going to do when you come into this truth. They're going to say, oh, he's just one of those racist niggers, right? One of those racist niggas that just screaming on the corner with a Bible. That's how a lot of people look at the servants of the Lord. Oh, they just go out there and scream at the white man. That's all they do, right? They're racist. Hey, but the Lord said we're blessed when they speak about us like that, man. Because all we doing is speaking the truth of the Bible, man. Right? It says, and cast out your name as evil for the Son of Man's sake. It says, rejoice ye in that day and leap for joy. So the Lord said, hey, leap for joy in that day, right? Rejoice ye in that day, man, right? You're supposed to rejoice in that, right? It says, for behold, your reward is great in heaven. The Lord said, hey, your reward is great in heaven, right? When you stand stiffly for this word, your reward is great in heaven when men are reproaching you, when men hate you. You see what I'm saying, right? And shalom to the mighty brother Micah, shalom, King. Right? And it says, for in like manner did their fathers unto the prophets. And like I said, that's throughout the scriptures. Right? The prophets of old, they were reviled as well. So we have to rejoice that we're fulfilling those same lots, man. That we're going to be hated for this truth. Right? And let's go to 1 John. Because I had touched on this earlier. A lot of times, hey, they're going to be jealous of you. Right? They see the sisters, the sisters that dress them modestly, right? The sisters walking in the spirit. This goes for the sisters as well, right? They see brothers, they put down the weed. They're not a drunkard anymore. They're walking in the newness as a new creature in Yahushua, man. They're going to be jealous of you, man. They're going to be envious of your righteous works. The same way that Cain envied Abel, man. And that's why he slew him. And we're going to bring that out. And shalom to the mighty sister Arenda. Shalom, princess. Right? And let's go to 1 John chapter 3 and verse 11. Right? So this 1 John chapter 3 and verse 11. And the brothers is bringing out mighty precepts, man. Let me bring this out real fast, right? Right? It's 1 John chapter 3 and verse 11. And it reads, for this is the message that you heard from the beginning, that we shall love one another. Right? And this is the point. Verse 12. It says, not as Cain, who was of that wicked one, right? Because Cain was in the spirit. Cain was in the spirit of Satan, right? It says, and slew his brother. And wherefore slew he him? So why did Cain slay Abel? We're going to read about it. It says, because his own works were evil and his brothers were righteous. You see that? And that's how, a lot of people that's reviling you, a lot of people that's going to speak bad about you when you're walking in the truth, when you're walking in the spirit of Yahushua, right? It's because they actually envy you. Right? They actually envy you, man. Right? I'm going to read that again. It says, wherefore slew he him? Right? Because his own works were evil and his brothers were righteous. So that's why Cain slew Abel. Because his works were evil and his brothers was righteous. So that's how much envy that was built up in him. Right? Because, he was jealous of him, man. Right? He was jealous of his righteous works, man. Right? And let's go to Mark 6. I'm going to bring out these precepts that the brothers bringing out. It's Ecclesiasticus, right? The book of Sirach, chapter 12 and verse 16. It says, an enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. You see that? And it says, he will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. And that's the spirit, because that goes right with what I was just going into with Cain and Abel, right? And Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 20, it says, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, right? And that's what people are going to do. They're going to call evil good, right? They're going to call the Christian pastor good, right? They're going to call the ways of this world good, man, right? But they're going to call good evil. They're going to call those that's actually walking in the spirit of the Lord. They're going to call you evil, man, right? But the Lord said death and destruction unto those that do that, man, right? And it says that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. So the Lord said death and destruction unto them that says evil is good, right? And that says good is evil, man, right? And let's bring this out. I wanted to go to Mark 6. Go to Mark 6, because this is a heavy one as well. This is Mark chapter 6 and verse 2, and it reads, yeah, I'm gonna start from 2. It says, and when the Sabbath day was come, he began to teach in the synagogue, and it's speaking about Yahushua. And it says, and many hearing him were astonished, saying, from whence has this man these things? Right? So you had many people saying, hey, where is he getting this knowledge from? Who bestowed this wisdom upon this man, right? And it says, and what wisdom is this which is given unto him, that even such mighty works are wrought by his hands, right? And this is the point, verse 3. Is not this the carpenter, the son of Mary, the brother of James and Joseph and of Judah? Salakia. And it says, and Simon, and are not his sisters here with us? And they were offended at him, right? So those in Yahushua's hometown, they said, hey, is this not the carpenter's son? Is this not the carpenter? Right? We know him. We know his family. Right? And they were offended. They said, how was he able to do all of these mighty works? We knew him since his youth, man. Right? We know his family. Who is he? And verse 4, it says, but Yahushua said unto them, a prophet is not without honor, but in his own country and among his own kin and in his own house. Right? And Yahushua said, hey, a prophet is not without honor except amongst those that he grew up around, except amongst his own family, except amongst his own household. Those are the only people that's going to look at you like, hey, this is just same old James that I knew all my life, right? This is the same old Malachi, just random names, right? Just I knew him all my life. Who is he to be doing all these mighty works? That's how people that knew you all your life, they're gonna look at you, man, right? And they're gonna despise you that much more. You read about that in Matthew 10, where the Lord literally tells you it's gonna be those of your own household, right? That's gonna deliver you up, man, right? Mother's gonna deliver up daughter, right? Daughter is gonna deliver up mother, right? Brother gonna deliver up brother. It's gonna be those that you thought was close to you that's gonna deliver you up, man, right? How did that happen to Yahushua? Who was Yahushua delivered up by? He was delivered up by Judas, man, who was one of the 12, right? One of the apostles, man, right? And let's go to Matthew 24, right? Because I want to touch on that, right? So this is Matthew 24, and I'm gonna start from verse 9, right? And it says, "Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all men, hated of all nations for my name's sake." You see that? You're going to be delivered up by those that you thought were closest to you, right? And it says, and this, I'm gonna read that again, because that touches on a heavy point. It says, "Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake." And that goes into it again. We're going to be hated of all nations for the name of Yahushua, right? And it says, "And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another," right? And I want to jump down to verse 13. And it says, "But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved." So throughout all the hatred, throughout all the persecutions, throughout all these things, we have to continue to endure unto the end. And that's the only way you're going to see the salvation of the Lord, if you continue to endure. We can't let any of these afflictions move us, man, right? And I'm gonna bring out this precept the brother called Matthew 10 and verse 34. It says, "Think not that I am come to send peace on the earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword," man. And that's ultimately what happens when you profess the name of Yahushua, right? The Lord brings a sword to the earth, right? The Lord brings division, right? And it says, Salaki, I lost the precept, because when you read on in that, the whole chapter is good. It says, "For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household." You see that? And that's what Yahushua was going into in Mark 6. A man's foe going to be they of his own household. You see what I'm saying? Right? So that's a mighty precept, man. Right? And let's go to Acts 16. Let's bring this out in Acts 16. So like I'm gonna bring this out that the elder brought out. This is James chapter 3 and verse 14. And the water, brothers, in the comments for the precepts, man. Right? It says, "But if you have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, glory not. right? And lie not against the truth. So don't lie against the truth, right? It says, this wisdom descendeth not from above, right? So that earthly, that carnal wisdom, right? The wisdom of this world is not given to you from above, from the Most High, right? It says, but it's earthly, sensual, devilish. For where envying and strife is, there is confusion and every evil work, right? It says, but the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy, good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. And the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace of them that make peace. You see that? And hey, you don't want to have the wisdom of this world, right? The wisdom of the prince of the air, man. Right? Damn Satan, man. You want the wisdom that comes from above, that comes from the Most High God, man. Right? And I'm gonna bring this on in Acts 16. So this is Acts chapter 16 and verse 16, and it reads, and it came to pass as we went to prayer, a certain damsel possessed with the spirit of divination met us. Salakia. It says, which brought her masters much gain by soothsaying. It says, the same followed Paul and us and cried, saying, these men are the servants of the Most High God. So you had a woman with she had a spirit on her, right? And these spirits, they know the servants of the Lord from the foundation of the earth, right? So she constantly followed the servants of the Lord, saying, hey, these men are the servants of the Most High God, right? And it says, and this did she many days. So she followed them many days, just constantly saying, hey, they're the servants of the Most High. They're the servants of the Most High. She's just following them saying these things. And it says, and Christ saying, I'm going to read on. It says, and this did she many days, but Paul being grieved. So Paul kind of got tired of it, right? It says, turn and said to the spirit, I command thee in the name of Yahushua to come out of her. And he came out the same hour, right? And it says, and when her masters saw that the hope of their gains was gone, they caught Paul and Silas and drew them into the marketplace unto the rulers, and brought them to the magistrate, saying, these men being Jews do exceedingly trouble our city, and teach customs which are not lawful for us to receive, neither to observe, being Romans. So Paul and Silas, they were cast into prison. Why? For moving in the spirit of the Lord, for teaching Yahushua. Right? So they were cast into a prison. It says, and the multitude rose up together against them, and the magistrates rent off their clothes and commanded to beat them. Right? And they were beaten. Right? And it says, and when they had laid many stripes upon them, they cast them into prison, charging the jailer to keep them safely. You see that? So they were beaten and they were cast into prison for professing this gospel, Salakia, and professing the name of Yahushua. Right? How much more us in these latter days? You understand? Right? It's going to be a great insurrection against the servants of the Lord in these latter days as well. You can read about that in 2 Ezra chapter 16, verse 70 on down. Right? You can read about that in Revelation chapter 12 and verse 17. Right? They're going to come against us that fear the Lord. Right? And shalom to the mighty brother Mayam Israel. Shalom, King. Right? And let's go to Acts 4:1. Right? So we could constantly read in the book of Acts how our forefathers were cast into prison just for teaching the gospel of Yahushua. Right? Let's go to Acts 4. This is Acts chapter 4 and verse 1, and it reads, and as they spake unto the people, the priest and the captain of the temple and the Sadducees came upon them, being grieved that they taught the people and preached through Yahushua the resurrection from the dead. So they were grieved that the apostles were teaching the resurrection, right? Teaching about the gospel of Yahushua, right? The teachings of Yahushua, right? And it says, and they laid hands on them and put them into hold until the next day, for it was now evening time, right? And I want to jump down to verse 18. It says, and they called them and commanded them not to speak at all, nor teach in the name of Yahushua, right? And they were cast into prison, they were beaten, right? And when they were let out, they said, Salakia, they were told not to preach any more in the name of Yahushua. So you're going to be hated for teaching in the name of Yahushua, right? It says, but Peter and John answered and said unto them, whether it be right in the sight of the Most High to hearken unto you more than unto the Most High, judge ye. For we cannot but speak the things which we have seen and heard. So when they had further threatened them, they let them go, finding nothing how they might punish them, because of the people. For all men glorified the Most High for that which was done. Right? So the point is, hey, they were cast into prison and told, hey, we better not see y'all speaking and teaching Yahushua anymore. We better not hear Yahushua's name come out of y'all mouth anymore. And they said, hey, we can't do nothing but speak the things that we seen and we heard, man. We're going to continue to preach this gospel. Right? So our forefathers wasn't scared. Our forefathers rejoiced in being beaten. Right? We're going to read about that as well. Right? Let's get this first in 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 22. Right? This is 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 22. Right? Let's see what Paul said. Right? It says, are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they the seed of Abraham? So am I. It says, are they ministers of Yahushua? I speak as a fool. I am more, and labors more abundant, and stripes above measures. So Paul said I was in stripes above measures, meaning he was beaten many times. Right? You can actually read about Paul being stoned to the point where he everybody thought he was dead, right? But he was still alive in the spirit. Right? It says, and labors more abundant, and in stripes above measure, and prisons more frequently, and deaths often. So Paul said I was in prisons more frequently than all these false teachers, man. Right? I was nigh unto death more than all these false teachers, just for the name of Yahushua, just for this gospel's sake, man. Right? It says, of the Jews 5 times received I 40 stripes, save one. Right? So he was constantly beaten by the Jews, by these wicked damn Jews, man. Right? It says 3 times was I beaten with rods. He said, man, I was beaten with rods 3 times, man. Right? Once was I stoned, like I was just going into. Paul was stoned, man. Right? They tried to kill Paul. Right? He said, once was I stoned. Thrice I suffered shipwreck. Right? Right? This thing is heavy, man. This thing is deep. It says, a night and a day have I been in the deep, man. These are all the things Paul went through because he was hated for preaching the gospel, man. This is what he's going into. Right? How much more us? Like we read about in John 15. The servant is not greater than his master, man. Right? So Paul went through the same things. The same reproach and the same being hated by the world that Yahushua had to go through, right? And it says, not on the same level of Yahushua, obviously, but the point is, the servant is not greater than his master. Right? And it says, in journeyings often, in perils of waters, and perils of robbers, and perils of my own countrymen, and perils by the heathen, and perils in the city, and perils in the wilderness, and perils in the sea, and perils among false brethren. So he had false brethren amongst him, right? He had heathen reproaching him. Hey, he went on and on, right? It says, in weariness and painfulness, and watchings often, and hunger and thirst, and fastings often, and cold and nakedness, right? And I want to jump down to verse 30 just to get to the point. Right? The whole thing makes the point, though. These are all the things Paul went through just for preaching this gospel, man. So you're going to be hated for this truth. That's the point. Right? In verse 30, it says, if I must needs glory, I will glory of the things which concern mine infirmities. But he said, hey, these are the things that I glory in. I glory in being beaten for the Lord's name. I glory in almost dying for the name of the Lord. I glory in being thrown into prison for the name of the Lord. These are the things that Paul gloried in. Right? And we have to rejoice in the time where we're hated for this thing as well. And that's what Yahushua told us to do in Luke 6. And that's what we read about that. Right? So let's go back to Acts. Let's get Acts chapter 5 and verse 40. Right? So this is the book of Acts chapter 5 and verse 40. And it says, and to him they agreed. And when they had called the apostles and beaten them, they commanded that they should not speak in the name of Yahushua and let them go. Right? So the apostles, right? They were beaten. Right? And they were commanded not to speak in the name of Yahushua. Right? And it says, and they departed from the presence of the council, rejoicing that they were counted worthy to suffer shame for his name. But our forefathers, they rejoiced in it. They said, man, I'm glad I was able to be beaten for the name of Yahushua. I'm glad I was cast into prison for the name of Yahushua. I'm glad these damn wicked Jews hate me for the name of Yahushua. How much? Hey, when you read about Stephen, hey, Stephen was in the spirit when he was stoned to death, right? Stephen was willing to die for the name of Yahushua, man. Right? We're going to get that as well through the spirit. But I want to read on. Verse 42. It says, and daily in the temple and in every house they ceased not to teach and to preach Yahushua. But even after they were beaten and cast into prison, hey, they continued to still preach in the name of Yahushua. They didn't let that stop them, man. They didn't care about the world hating them. They didn't care about men wanting to kill them. They didn't care about men wanting to cast them into prison, right? Hey, they said we got to do the work of the Lord, man, right? Unto death. That's Sirach 4:28. Strive for the truth unto death, man. Right? Yahushua told us in Revelation to remain faithful unto death, man. Roughly paraphrasing. Right? And I want to bring this out. This whole thing is good. The whole Acts the 7th chapter is a good chapter, right? Bear with me. I'm gonna bring this out. This is Acts chapter 7 and verse 54. It says, and they heard these things. When they heard these things, they were cut to the heart. Right? And this was just Stephen speaking through the Spirit. Right? And it says, and they gnashed on him in their teeth. But he, being full of the Holy Spirit, looked up steadfastly into heaven and saw the glory of the Most High. Right? And Yahushua standing on the right hand of the Most High. So it might come to time when you might have to be a martyr in this thing. Right? Men might want to put you to death for this truth. You see what I'm saying? But the Lord put such a heavy spirit on Stephen when he was about to be stoned that he seen the Most High God on his throne and seen Yahushua sitting on the right hand of the Most High, man, in the heavens. This is the spirit that the Lord could put on his saints in that day, right? In the time of Jacob's trouble, in the time when all hell is breaking loose, hey, the Lord could put such a heavy spirit on you. Hey, when you're not even fazed by these things, man, right? It says, and said, behold, I see the heavens open and the Son of Man standing on the right hand of the Most High. Then they cried with a loud voice and stopped their ears and ran upon him with one accord and cast him out of the city and stoned him. And the witnesses laid their clothes at a young man's feet whose name was Saul. And they stoned Stephen, calling upon the Most High, saying, Lord Yahushua, receive my spirit. Right? So Stephen was hated so much that he was cast out and stoned, man. Right? All because he was professing the name of the Lord, man. All because of the name of Yahushua, man. You see what I'm saying? And y'all, I just wanted to bring that out through the Spirit. But the point is, we're going to be hated for this thing. And that's just a light affliction, man. Right? The things that we're going to go through on this side, right? Being hated by men, it's a light affliction. This is nothing, man. Right? It's nothing compared to the glory that you're going to get in the kingdom of heaven. Right? Just for enduring through this thing, man. Right? And let me bring this out in Hebrews 12. Right? We have to persevere. We have to endure. Right? Like our forefathers did. Like Yahushua did, which is the ultimate example that we have. Right? So this is Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 1, and it reads, wherefore, seeing we are compassed about with so a great cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doeth so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us. So we have to run this race with patience, man. Right? In Luke 21 and 19, Yahushua said, and patience possess ye your souls. So in the time of tribulation, in the time of trial, right, you have to be patient in this thing. Don't make haste. That's Sirach chapter 2 and verse 4. Right? Don't make haste in this thing when you're going through things and now you're making haste. And next thing you know, you're back in the rail. Next thing you know, you couldn't endure. Next thing you know, you're saying this thing is too hard for you, man. Right? And patience possess ye your souls, man. So run this race with patience, man. Right? It says, looking unto Yahushua, the author and the finisher of our faith. So Yahushua is the ultimate example we have of endurance, man. Of patience. Right? It says, and he's the author and the finisher of our faith. It says, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross. So Yahushua endured the cross, right? Despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of the Most High. For consider him that endures such contradiction of sinners against himself, lest you be weary and faint in your minds. So when you're going through these trials and tribulation, consider what Yahushua went through, man. Right? And if you forget about if you forget about what Yahushua endured, hey, you're going to become weary in this thing, right? Because you have to understand Yahushua is our ultimate example, right? And let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 4. 1 Corinthians chapter 4, and I want verse 17. Right? So this is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 17, and it reads, is this what I want? Yeah, this is what I want. Verse 17. Salakia. Verse 1 Corinthians 4. Salakia, bro, with me. It might be 2 Corinthians. Con, this is what I want. 2 Corinthians 4 and 17. Salakia. It says, for our light affliction, this whole thing is good. Yeah, I'll get straight to the point. Verse 17, it says, for our light affliction, which is but for a moment, right? So the Lord said this light affliction is only for a moment, man, right? It says, working for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory, right? So if we endure through this light affliction, we're going to have great glory in the kingdom of heaven, man, right? That's what Yahweh Shai said in Luke 6. You understand? When you're reproached, when you're hated for this word, rejoice in that and leap for joy, because your treasure is great in heaven. Roughly paraphrasing. It says, that's all I wanted on that. Right? So understand this is just a light affliction, man. Right? Let's see what Yahweh Shai said. Let's go to Matthew 11. Right? This is Matthew chapter 11 and verse 29. It says, take my yoke upon you and learn of me. So we got to take Yahweh Shai's yoke upon us, right? And learn of Yahweh Shai. It says, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your souls, right? And this is what the Lord said. The Lord said, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. The Lord said his yoke is easy and his burden is light. So it's a light thing to go through affliction and trials and tribulation for the name of the Lord. It was a light thing for our forefathers to be slain for the name of the Lord. It's a light thing for us to be beaten, to be persecuted, to be thrown into prison houses for the name of the Lord, right? Especially thinking about the fact that we're going to inherit the kingdom of heaven if we continue to endure, man. Everything we go through on this side, it's light, man. It's light affliction. It's a light burden. You understand? Compared to the glory that we're going to receive in the kingdom of heaven, Lord willing, we're of that number, right? And I'm gonna read verse 30 again. It says, "For my yoke is easy and my burden is light," man. So this thing, it's a light thing to go through these things for the name of our Lord, man. Right? Let's go to Romans 8. Salaki, I want to bring out this precept that the elder brought out. This Galatians chapter 1 and verse 7. It says, "Which is not another, but there be some that trouble you and will pervert the gospel of Yahushua. But though we or an angel from heaven," right? It says, "preach any other gospel unto you than that which we have preached unto you, let him be accursed." You see that? Hey, and if anybody come with any other gospel, right, then that was what the scriptures say. Hey, let him be accursed, man. Right? If anybody is telling you anything that's contrary, then thus says Salaki, thus said the Lord, hey, let him be accursed. And it's a beautiful account about that in 1 Kings 13, right? With the dealing with the man of God, right? He was sent on a mission, just roughly paraphrasing, by the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, right? And, hey, he had a prophet come up to him and tell him to do something that was contrary to the Most High. He said, "Come to my house and have a feast with me," right? Roughly paraphrasing. You can read about the account in 1 Kings 13. And it's called like the account of the man of God. Hey, he stayed with that man, and he, instead of listening to what the Lord said, he actually stopped and ate with that man. And ultimately he was killed, man. He was slain by a lion, man. Right? And it's a beautiful account. And it goes into perfectly what the elder just brought out, right? And it says, "As we said before, so say I now again, if any man preach any other gospel unto you than that ye have received, let him be accursed," man. Anybody speaking anything contrary to the words of the Lord, hey, let him be accursed, man. And shalom to my mighty brother Micah Isla. Shalom, King. Right? And I want to bring this out in Romans 8. So this is the book of Romans chapter 8 and verse 17. And it reads, "And if children, then heirs of the Most High, and joint heirs with Yahushua, if so be that we suffer with him," right? So if we suffer with Yahushua, we go through the same things that Yahushua went through on this side, man. Right? We're hated by the world like Yahushua was. We're persecuted by the world like Yahushua was. Right? We're slain for this word like Yahushua was. Right? It says that we may also be glorified together. Right? And if we're part of that number, we're going to be glorified with Yahushua in the kingdom of heaven, man. Right? It says, verse 18, "For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us." Right? So the sufferings that we go through on this side, in this world, it's not worthy to be compared with the glory that we're going to receive in the kingdom of heaven. It's a light affliction, man. It's nothing. Right? It says, that's all I really wanted on that, man. Right? And I'm gonna bring this back out. And Luke. Right? I kind of brought this out through the lesson, but I want to bring this back out to kind of close out. right? So this is the key point, man. Right? So you're going to be hated for this truth. You might be persecuted for this truth. Hey, you might be slain for this truth, man. Right? When you actually learn about the elder, right, Abba Bivens, right, who's actually the man who first that the Lord first used in these last days to restore all things, right, to bring this truth back on the earth, right? You would learn that I believe he was correct me if somebody knows and I'm saying this wrong. I believe he was killed by a bunch of Muslims, man. Right? He was killed for this truth, man. Right? So you might be killed for this truth. You understand? I believe he was jumped by a bunch of Muslims and killed, man. Right? But I want to bring this out again. It's Luke chapter 6 and verse 22. It says, "Blessed are ye when men shall hate you, and when they shall separate you from their company, and shall reproach you, and cast your name as evil for the Son of Man's sake." It says, "Rejoice ye in that day, and leap for joy." Yahweh Shai said, leap for joy in that day when everybody hates you, man. It says, "For behold, your reward is great in heaven. For in like manner did their fathers unto the prophets." So understand, our forefathers went through the same thing, right? And even heavier, hey, Yahweh Shai went through the same thing. Yahweh Shai was hated. Yahweh Shai was reviled, right? Earlier in the lesson, we went into an account. Hey, when men wanted to grab Yahweh Shai up and throw him headlong off of a cliff, man, that's how much they hated our Lord and Savior. So how much more us? The servant is not greater than his master, right? So Lord willing, this was edifying. Right, Lord willing, brothers and sisters got the understanding thereof. Right, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Right, continue to read, continue to study, continue to fast, continue to pray. Right, continue to love your brothers, continue to love your sisters in this thing. Right, continue to strive for the truth unto death. Continue to endure, man. Right, and I want to give a mighty shalom to all the mighty Akyam Wa'akwaf that tuned in and listened to the words of the Lord, right? And once again, I want to give a mighty Kahala, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, right? And Shalom, Yasha Allah. I love y'all.